Hi everyone, welcome to our Facebook Live today. My name is Alyssa and I'm the Marketing Manager here at Kitomba. And today I'm so pleased to be back with Rica, who is one of my amazing colleagues, and she is our Key Accounts Support Specialist. Hey Rica, how are you?
Hi Alyssa, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Like I said, really good to have you back and have another Kitomba face on here.
Thanks.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. And you guys will keep seeing Rica, so we'll keep bringing her back along with a couple of our other colleagues as well. So you can keep meeting the team, which is awesome. So today I asked Rica to pop on here because we really want to take you guys through Kitomba 1 Targets, which we think is just the most amazing feature. It is really, really simple to set up, but can have incredible results for your business. And so today Rica is going to take you through what Kitomba Targets is, how to set it up, how your staff can then track their targets, and she's actually going to give us kind of a few tips and kind of some insights along the way as well, because obviously she's worked with a number of our customers over the years on like kind of implementing this feature into their business. So I know that she's got lots of great stuff that she can share. So yeah, so Rica, I thought first before we kind of kick off into the live demo, do you want to maybe explain actually what Kitomba Targets is in case anyone watching hasn't come across it before?
Yes, sure. So Targets is a really, really exciting feature that we've got in our mobile Kitomba version, Kitomba 1. So that means you can basically set up targets, which can be KPIs or performance measurements for your business or for your staff. And then your staff members can see, and you yourself can see how you track against those during the week or even for the month. So you can set it for different KPIs, which I will be taking you through in a moment. But it's just really great because it's got really nice visual like graphs that are really intuitive and easy to see. And it just helps your staff as well plan their day. They can also access it from their phone, from home, on the go. So it's really great to incentivize them to like track their performance, work towards their commissions, and just progress and really contribute a lot to your business. So it's an amazing feature that gives you so many insights really in how your staff are going and also improvement opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you really like hit the nail on the head. That's so right, Rica. And I think also the other super cool thing about it as well is how it's so smart. It can kind of tell you what you need to do in order to hit your target. So when your staff are looking at it, that it will actually tell them whether or not they're kind of tracking towards their goal, and if they're going to be able to hit that based on the performance. Say they're halfway through the week, they might say, hey, actually, you're not going to quite get there. You might need to sell 2 more retail items, or kind of whatever the KPI is. It'll really give you the information, making it super easy for the user, which is really cool.
Yes, it's definitely really cool because it really helps staff to plan their day and really kind of know exactly what they need to do in order to hit or even like exceed their target for the day.
Yeah, cool. All right. So, Rica, do you want me to share your Kitomba 1 and you'll start the demo?
Yes, cool. Definitely. Yeah, we get started.
Awesome. There you go.
Cool. Awesome. So let's just start from the very beginning. So basically, you as a business owner, you would first of all start with actually setting up the targets for your staff and for your business. So that's like a one-off. It's kind of a set and forget. So once you've set them all up, they're basically saved. You don't have to do any maintenance on it. But as your staff progress and their performance changes, you can also amend their targets individually. So you find the whole feature up here at the top in your Kitomba. You've got all your different options up here. It's under targets, pretty self-explanatory. And then we'll start with, so it shows you here in the view, you can either view targets for the current week, the current month, or you can even go back and look back in time how you were doing last week or last month. Then we've got our filters here. So Too Cool for School, that's the business, my salon. And then we've got the staff members here, each individual staff member. So you can view your targets for the whole business for the week, or for each staff member, you can view, or they can view their own targets. For example, here for Chloe, though, the targets are not set. So what we'll start with then is I'll take you through how to actually set up targets for your staff members. So if we just take Chloe here, you click on set weekly targets for Chloe, and then we get into this screen. So first of all, you can customize with this checkbox here. We can see whether you want to set the targets weekly or monthly. It just depends really how you run your business, what your staff are working towards in terms of commission and performance KPIs. Quite common seems to be to set them up weekly because it just breaks it down more for staff so they can track how they're going for each week, and you can also compare improvements like for different weeks. Then you've got all your different KPIs here. The great thing with this is as well is, so if there are any KPIs here that are not relevant to your business or you don't really track, you have this checkbox here so you can customize every single KPI you want or don't want, and you can also add some down the track later on as well. So let's just start with total sales. So that basically means any sales your staff member has done, which might be appointment services, appointment retail sales, any product sales for walk-in clients. It just doesn't include voucher sales. That's the only thing to look out for. So let's say for Chloe, we set her weekly target at $7,000. Then we also could set, depending on what the level of the stylist is and whether they're more based on like if they do a lot of services, or maybe, for example, if you have a staff who works more at reception or does shared tasks, they might be more based on retail sales, so your focus might be more on that. So that's how you can amend kind of based on reports from the past. You could also run the Kitomba Business Summary report as well if you wanted to get a gauge on how they've been performing in the past. That would really help you as well at first to set those initial targets for your staff. And I mean, if you feel like they're out of touch and staff never reached them, you could also amend them if they maybe set up a bit too high. So let's say for service sales, we're looking at 5,000. And then your retail sales, which would include just any retail your staff members sales. So that might be from an appointment or if a client walks in and buys products. So let's say the total would be $2,000. And then also, which is really good to know as well, if you want to get a gauge on how do you really get the most value out of clients that come in and have an appointment, like do your staff members upsell retail? Do they try and is the client journey really good and they recommend products? So that really helps this KPI, appointment retail sales, because that will solely record any retail sold when there was actually a client that booked an appointment. So let's say we put that at 1,000. Then another one here, it's the total appointment value. So that's just overall throughout the whole week, how much your staff has been making out of all their appointments they've booked in. That gives you just kind of a gauge again as well, if they've sold retail, if they've added on other services. So let's say we put this at, you probably want to have it similar around the total sales as well, probably a bit less in case there's walk-in retail. So let's say we set it at $6,000. And then also a really handy one is the average appointment value. So that shows you how much an average, like a client spends per appointment on average with this particular staff member, which can also be very insightful if you look at different services they do, and just in general, how much they get their clients to spend when they are in with them. So let's say maybe we would do 450. And this is one of the most popular KPIs, probably declined rebooking. So that will give you an indication of how many clients your staff rebooks within 24 hours of the initial appointment. So let's say if you want to aim high, you do like 60%. Great, so we've set all our weekly targets, and then just at the bottom here as well. So by default, the targets are always including GST and based on the designated salesperson, just because all your Kitomba reports have this default setting. But if for some reason you want to run your business differently or you do your reporting differently, you can also customize this as well. So then we click save at the bottom. Cool. And now we are here in Chloe's targets. So let's just have a look. Okay, great. So what you would do is you would literally set this up at first when you start out for each staff member. So I've already set it up for Justin here. We've got Caitlin, that's already set. So let's have a look now, for example, for Chloe, what your targets would actually look like, what Chloe would see if she was tracking from her phone, if she wanted to have a look how she's going for the week. So let's see. Oh, actually, let's have a look at Justin because he's actually done a few more sales, so it's just a bit easier to see what it can predict for you. So if we jump into graphs here, so we'll see it's got all our KPIs that we've chosen beforehand. It's got them all set up here. So if we look at the total sales, at the top, it'll always give you an overview of the target that has been set for the staff. And then it shows them so far how much they have been making towards their target. And in the blue here, which is really good as well, it gives them exactly the amount of how much they have to go to hit their target. So we see Justin here has quite a lot to go still. Then at the bottom here, it's really great with the graph. So it gives you a breakdown of each day. So for example, if we look for today, so you can hover over this and it shows you the lines. So basically our green line here, this one here, that is how many sales Justin has made this week so far. This green line is how many more appointments he has booked in, and based on that, the line indicates where he's going to end up with his target. And whereas you can see the actual line at the top here, the blue one, that is where he should be at to hit his target. So he's quite a long way off that. That grey line here, just quickly as well, that you can see here, that grey one in the middle, that's the 6-week average. So you could also see off in the last 6 weeks how he has been doing compared to how he's tracking this week. So then a really cool feature here is if you hover over today, let's say today, it'll show you the total of sales so far for the whole week at the top. Then there'll be a breakdown of the sales for today so far, which is $90 for him. And then, which is super handy at the bottom here in the green area, for the weekly target tracking, it shows with all the future bookings he's got in there so far, which is only one more, he would track $1,655 below the actual target, because just based on the service that's booked in, he would have to upsell or sell retail worth $1,655 to actually hit his target, which is really good to know because then he can plan his day around it or knows that he needs to book on more appointments in order to just get close to hitting it. And then retail, Justin hasn't sold anything this week as well. It shows how, again, 6 weeks average, how he's been doing. He's been way above his target. So since it's already Thursday, there's quite a lot of more retail that he would need to sell for that one appointment he's got booked in. And then we don't have rebookings for him either. So it's the same principle. It shows you the target here. Then really cool is it shows you the amount of remaining clients that you have, the grey one here for Friday. So he's got one more client on Friday booked in that he could rebook. If we click again, hover over today, it shows so far he's had 2 clients, but hasn't rebooked none of them for the whole week. And today he's had 1 client. He hasn't rebooked any of them. And then it also shows him based on the bookings he's got, because he's only got 1 more client, he won't be able to meet his target for the week at all, which is also a really good indication. But what I might do is, so we have a bit more data in here, I'll show you for the whole business. We jump into the targets for the whole business, because that just gives a bit more insight again as well on how they're doing. So here again, we see for the total business, the target for sales is $20,500. On Thursday today, so far this week, we've sold $1,700. And then again, under green line, which is really the one that helps a lot, is with future bookings, we are tracking $18,000 below our target. And with no new bookings, we need $6,110 extra per 3 clients to hit the target. So those figures are a bit off because that's just my salon. It's not a real salon. But in general, it would tell your staff how much money they need to make off an appointment or how much they need to upsell off each appointment they're still having in order to hit the target, which is great to motivate them. And then here with our service sales, it shows again as well. So far, we've made 1,500. The target is 15,000, so they've got over 13,000 to go to hit it. And then the line here again indicates based on future bookings. That's where we're going to end up for the week, as opposed to where we want to be at the top, where the blue line is. Just going down here. The same for the business targets for our retail, only $161 today, whereas in the average 6 weeks we were a bit higher, but still quite far off our target. So also if you can see a tendency, for example, that how much your staff is making or the business is making is way below the target you have set, it either is a great starting point to talk about different incentives you can set to them, maybe little challenges or competitions. Whoever hits the target gets a little prize or any incentive for that. Or also it shows really where there's room for performance improvement and maybe for different training opportunities you could have with your staff. So it just gives you a lot of insights, and your staff members as well, if you have regular performance reviews with them, what areas they could improve in. So I'm just going down here just to show you a different one maybe that I haven't shown so far.
Sorry, Rica, I thought I'd also just mention one other thing that I really love about targets is that you can choose the day, the start day of your week. So we know that often, salons and spas are closed Sunday and Monday. So instead of, your targets needing to start on a Sunday, you could actually choose that they start on a Tuesday, so that your week, Tuesday through Saturday, is actually shown visually on the graph as well, and it's not kind of a confusing half week because we know that kind of in our industry weeks aren't standardized.
That's a really good point, Alyssa. Thank you. I'll just show you, that would be up here. So it's super easy to change. Let's say here at the moment we start on a Sunday, but we can change it to, as you say, because most salons are closed Sunday, Monday, we start on the Tuesday. And then you can see your graph actually starts on the Tuesday. So it'll be way easier for your staff because they would also visualize their appointment book based on that. So it's going to match up with that, which is really great. Let's have a look. And then here, again, with the rebooking, we would see rebook all 6 remaining clients to hit the target. So it shows again, which is really great, how many clients are booked in over the course of the week, and how many they have to rebook in order to hit the target. It's just a great way of showing exactly where they're at. Again, if you hover over the individual days, it gives you a breakdown again of each day how you were going, on each day how you were tracking against the target, and then a future prediction as well of how many you have to rebook in order to hit the target. So I'll just go up. What I might show you as well is what I've touched on before briefly. So you can give your staff members access to view this on their phone or any device they would like access to it from home, or if they're on the go, before they get ready to come into work, they can just quickly have a look at the targets and plan their day around that. So I'll just show you quickly where you can actually give them access to it to make sure it's also secure, so they only get access to the things you would like them to see. So that's in our settings here under staff and users. First of all, which is quite new as well, you've got the Kitomba One access levels. So if we're looking at so you've got the access level, there's a specific access level for that called targets. So you could set your staff up with that, or if it's staff members that already have access to K1 anyways, you can see there's also other access levels. What I'll show you is if you scroll down to the target section, you can actually tick if you want them to be able to view their own targets, or maybe for a more of a manager or advanced staff member, you could also tick this box to view and set targets. So that means then they can view everyone's targets and set targets as well, for different staff members and the business. But if you just want staff members to track their own performance and not be able to see other people's and other staff members' targets, just select this box. And then what you do is once you're happy with your access levels, you click Save. And then you click into your staff and Kitomba One users. For example, for our Chloe here, you click into her name, scroll all the way down, and then change her access level to what you would like, what we've just defined before, what you would like her to see. Click Targets and click Save. If they don't have access yet, they'll receive an email with a code to set up their password, and then they'll be able to set it up on their phone, download it as an app to always log on. Super easy. Cool. And just really, so I've kind of talked you through how to set it up now. And from my experience, all businesses I've worked with over the last few years, a lot of them didn't know about targets. Some of them would even get external systems to help them keep track of staff performance and help them to visualize to staff how they can improve their performance. And then when I tell them, do you know, we actually got the targets feature, they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And then as soon as they start using it, they're like, it's actually amazing, especially because the graphs are really intuitive and staff members can compare it as well to the Kitomba reports, and you can also tie it in with the commission plans you can set up on Kitomba. It's just super easy because all the data links together. And what the salon owners have really found is that it's really improved their rebooking rates. Staff members are more likely to sell retail because they really understand the impact it has and what they could make out of one single appointment with a client, how much more they could get out of it. There's also the upsell button in the Make Sale tab in Kitomba, which a lot of them then exploit that they can use as well, because it shows you all the latest purchases of clients in the past. So then based on that, staff can start a conversation and say, oh, have you run out of this product? Would you like to purchase more? So it really encourages them to be more proactive and really get more excited about work, because there's just a lot more incentive and motivation for staff as they can see also their improvement, because you can show them as well last month compared to this month, and they can really see how they have improved. So it's been really positive for everyone I've worked with who've used targets. They've absolutely been loving it.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rica, for taking us through that. Like she said, it is such an incredible feature, and we have heard so many amazing stories since people have started using it. So yeah, we really encourage you guys to get started. The setup is super simple. I actually just showed you. So yeah, all the best with setting up your targets and getting your team to really see more and more success. Cool. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much, Rica, for your time.
Thanks for having me, and thanks, guys.
Cool. Awesome. And we will see you guys on our next Facebook Live. So yeah.
Bye.